All right, so we are back for another deep dive
Back at it.
into the V86 races this Wednesday
Yeah.
at Bjerke Solvalla.
Exciting stuff.
I don't know, some insights.
Just some things to watch for.
Yeah, things to watch for, and, maybe you'll learn something new.
Maybe you can win some money, too.
That would be a nice bonus.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's jump into the first race, V86-1.
Sounds good.
Travnet seems pretty high on Canopus, giving him a 40% chance of winning.
Yeah, they like that he's got some speed.
Oh, okay.
And they think he's probably going to take the lead early on.
That makes sense, right? Like, get out front, stay out front.
Especially on a smaller track like Bjerke.
Yeah.
If he can get out there and set the pace, he could run away with it.
So kind of a no-brainer pick, right? You want the fast horse?
It would seem so, but...
Oh, there's a but.
There's always a but with harness racing.
Of course.
So they also mentioned he might yield to his stablemate.
Okay, wait, hold on.
Stablemate bunny?
Yield. What does that even mean?
Right. So, for people who don't speak, fluent harness racing.
Right. Yeah.
Yielding means letting another horse kind of take that lead position.
Even if you're faster.
Even if you could be out in front.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes it's a strategic thing, right? Like maybe the other horse is going to set a really fast pace and tire themselves out.
Ah, so it's about, being sneaky.
A little bit. Sometimes it's about teamwork, right? So because they're stablemates, they've got the same trainer.
Right, right.
So maybe the strategy is to let Bunny set the pace.
Oh, okay.
Save Canopus's energy for a late push, something like that.
Interesting. So is that typical? Is Canopus known for that?
Well, that's what's really interesting here, right? So Travnet actually describes him as a piggy horse.
A piggy horse.
He's got this, explosive speed, but sometimes struggles to control it early on.
Oh, okay.
So it's like he gets so excited.
Oh, he's just like, go, go, go.
Exactly. Doesn't really think about pacing himself.
So maybe letting him just take off wouldn't actually be good for him.
Could actually backfire, right? He could burn himself out too quickly.
Interesting. So it's a real strategic decision here.
It's a tough call for the driver.
Yeah.
Now, to make things even more interesting,
Uh-huh.
this other PDF we've got
The other source, yeah.
doesn't even mention Bunny.
Oh.
They're suggesting a 3-horse strategy, Canopus, Kaya, and Heavenly Zet.
Okay, a 3-horse strategy. What does that mean?
It means they think any of those 3 could win.
Oh.
So instead of just betting on one, you're spreading it out a little bit.
So it's less risky.
Increases your odds of winning something.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
So right out of the gate, V86-1 is there's a lot to think about.
Right. A lot of strategic possibilities.
It's going to be a fun one to watch, for sure.
All right, let's move on to V86-3.
Sounds good.
Tell me about that one.
So this one's got a horse who's been kind of on everybody's radar lately, Bear Mattis.
Bear Mattis?
Yeah, both of our sources are really high on him.
Really high.
Travnet gives him a 68% chance of winning.
68%. That's a pretty bold prediction, huh?
It's a lot of confidence.
Why? What makes him so special?
He's been just dominating his races lately. He's
yeah.
on a serious winning streak.
Oh, wow.
And they expect him to take the lead early and just kind of control the pace.
So a bit like Canopus, but even more dominant.
Yeah, and with a winning streak like that, that kind of momentum is hard to ignore.
Yeah, I guess so. But, just playing devil's advocate for a second.
Right.
Do you ever think, all that pressure, that winning streak, does that ever get into their heads?
That's a good question, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely a factor.
Right.
Some horses, they thrive under pressure. Some crumble,
Right.
That's where you got to look beyond just the stats and consider their temperament, right?
Right, like the mental game.
In Bear Mattis's case, he has shown this remarkable ability to stay focused and deliver even under pressure.
Okay.
But, it's always something to consider.
Yeah, I guess so. So even though he looks like a sure thing, there's always that element of, the unknown.
Of course, and that's what keeps us coming back.
Right. I guess so. All right. On to V86-4.
V86-4,
Yeah.
What do we got there?
Both of our sources seem to like Ready to Run HC.
Okay.
They're expecting her to lead from a good starting position.
And this other PDF, they actually single her out as one of their top picks.
Oh, wow.
For the entire night.
Top pick. All right, so what's so special about her?
Well, she's been performing well, but starting position is also really important in harness racing. Now, the thing about Ready to Run HC, though, is she has had some inconsistencies lately.
Wow, really?
So she hasn't performed up to her usual standards in a few races.
Oh, so that's a bit of a red flag.
It raises the question, is she back in top form?
Interesting. So we got the good starting position. She's obviously got potential, but
But she's been a little iffy lately.
yeah, that's a tough one.
You know, it might be a good betting opportunity.
Oh, how so?
If you think those inconsistencies were just flukes and she really is back in form,
Yeah.
you could get really good odds.
Oh, that's true. So it's a risk, but it could pay off big time.
Exactly.
All right, V86.4, another one to keep an eye on.
Absolutely.
V86.5, what do we got there?
This is where our sources start to differ a little bit.
Oh, okay, how so?
So Travnet likes Patrick Palema. He's making a comeback after a long break.
Oh, interesting.
They're giving him a 28% chance of winning. But
our other source?
Our other source likes high performance.
Okay.
Because of his recent form, they're giving him a 34% chance of winning.
So it's the comeback kid versus the horse who's in the zone right now.
Exactly.
That's a tough one. I mean, what do you think, is it smarter to stick with the horse that's, proven himself recently, or do you gamble on the comeback?
It's a tough call, right?
Yeah.
So on one hand, high performance is clearly in good form.
Makes sense.
He's comfortable on the track. He's winning. But Patrick Palema, he was a top contender before his break.
Oh, right.
So if he's fully recovered and ready to race, he could be a real threat.
It's like, sometimes absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Right.
Like maybe everyone's forgotten how good Patrick Palema can be.
It's definitely possible.
All right, so V86.5, that's one where, if you like a good underdog story, that's one to watch.
It's going to be fun to see how that shakes out.
Okay, how about V86.6? What's going on there?
Another intriguing matchup here.
Right.
So Travnet is really high on the S-No Limit.
Okay.
They're predicting a fast start, and potentially he could just win wire to wire.
Okay, wire to wire, got it.
But the other source, the PDF, throws in a little curveball.
Ooh, a curveball. I like it. Tell me more.
So they like Imperator Am.
Okay.
And the reason is he recently switched trainers to Daniel Radin, who's really known for his ability to, get the best out of his horses.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of like a fresh start for Imperator Am.
Ah, okay. So it's like a potential, hidden talent situation.
Exactly. And that's why the PDF sees him as a potential upset pick.
That's exciting.
They think Radin's training could make a real difference.
So it's experience versus potential again.
It's going to be interesting to watch.
All right, V86.6, another one with some tough choices to make.
Absolutely.
What about V86.7?
So V86.7 features a young horse that's been getting a lot of buzz.
Oh, okay. Tell me more.
His name is Lippy.
Lippy, all right.
Both sources are impressed with his recent form.
Go.
The PDF even makes him one of their strongest picks for the whole night.
Oh, wow. Strongest pick. Okay, so what makes him so special?
Well, he's on a winning streak.
Oh, wow.
Back-to-back victories.
Okay.
And he's drawn a good starting position, so remember we were talking about how important that is.
Right.
Plus, he's young, Yeah. He's got that youthful energy.
Right, he's got that fire.
Exactly.
But we were also talking about how youth can be a double-edged sword.
Absolutely. Inexperience can lead to mistakes, especially when the pressure's on.
Right, so he's got all the makings of a champion, but...
Gotta see if he can handle the hype.
Yeah, if he can handle the pressure.
Exactly.
Okay, on to V86.8, our last race for this part of the deep dive.
This one's interesting.
Okay.
So Travnet is looking for a bounce-back performance from Conrad Zock.
Conrad Zock, all right.
They acknowledge he had a bit of a mishap in his last race.
Okay.
But they think, his previous performances and tougher races make him a solid contender.
So they think he can redeem himself.
They think he's got the talent to overcome that setback.
Okay.
Now, the other source takes a different approach.
Right.
They like Cashman Jr.
Cashman Jr., all right.
They highlight his raw talent, but he's known for being inconsistent.
Oh, so that's a bit of a gamble.
It's a big gamble. He's a bit of an enigma.
Okay.
On his best day, he's unbeatable. But he's also known for, throwing races away with silly mistakes.
Oh, so he's the wild card.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to get.
Okay, so if you're feeling lucky, Cashman Jr. might be your guy.
Exactly.
This has been a great start to our deep dive.
I'm enjoying it.
I know. We've already got so many things to think about.
We've got speedsters, we've got comeback kids, we've got underdogs with new trainers, we've even got a wild card in the mix.
Yeah, this is great, but all right, so we kind of skipped over V86.2 earlier.
Right.
What's happening in that race?
So this one's interesting. Travnet didn't really cover it in much detail.
Oh, okay.
But the PDF suggests a potential upset pick, Kaya.
Kaya, all right.
They think she's got a chance if she can get an early lead.
Interesting. So why do they think she can pull it off?
Well, they point to her recent performance. She came in second in a pretty tough race.
Oh, wow.
So it suggests she's in good form.
Yeah.
Maybe she's a bit underestimated by the odds makers.
Okay, so that's a good one for someone who likes to take a bit of a risk.
Potentially.
All right, and then V86.6, we were talking about There Is No Limit.
Right, the potential showdown with Imperator Am.
Right, right. So anything else we should think about with that race?
Well, it's worth noting that There's No Limit, he's known for his fast starts.
Okay.
Travnet seems pretty confident that he's going to secure an early lead and potentially dominate the race.
Okay, but couldn't that work in Imperator Am's favor?
How so?
Well, if There Isn't Limit sets a really fast pace, maybe Imperator Am can, conserve his energy and then make a late push.
Oh, that's a good point.
Like we were talking about with that yielding strategy earlier.
Very insightful. It's definitely a possibility.
Right.
And that's the kind of strategic thinking that can really make a difference.
Yes.
You're not just picking horses, you're trying to anticipate how the race will unfold.
Right, you got to think like a horse.
A little bit.
All right, V86.7, we got Lippy, the rising star.
Everyone's excited about him.
Yeah, so both sources seem to think he's got a good shot.
Impressed with his recent form.
Right, but like we said, youth can be a double-edged sword.
It can.
So it's one thing to win when you're kind of an unknown.
Right.
But now he's the favorite. Everyone's watching him.
There's pressure.
Yeah, and that can, mess with a horse's head.
It can manifest in different ways, right? Maybe he gets too eager at the start and makes a mistake.
Oh, right.
Maybe he gets boxed in and can't find a clear path.
Okay, so even though he looks good on paper, there are still things that could trip him up.
Absolutely.
All right, and then finally, V86.8.
Our last one.
We got Conrad's Ack, Looking for Redemption.
Right.
And then Cashman Jr., the Enigma.
The wild card.
Yeah, so what are your final thoughts on that race?
It's a tough one to call, Conrad Zeig definitely has the experience and the talent to bounce back.
Yeah.
But Cashman Jr., on his best day, could beat anyone in that field.
So it really depends on which Cashman Jr. shows up.
I think it comes down to whether you believe in his ability to stay focused and deliver a disciplined performance.
So if you're a believer in second chances, Conrad Zeig might be your guy.
Right.
But if you're feeling lucky and you want to gamble on pure talent,
Cashman Jr. is your horse.
all right, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
So, okay, as we wrap up this deep dive,
Right.
what are some key takeaways? Like, what should people be thinking about as they make their final V86 bets?
I think first and foremost, remember, nothing's guaranteed in harness racing.
Right.
Like, upsets happen,
Yeah.
favorites falter.
Right.
You never know. A long shot could win.
Right, so don't be afraid to, trust your gut.
Yeah, if you've got a hunch about a horse,
Yeah.
even if it goes against the experts, go for it.
Right, exactly. Sometimes those hunches pay off.
Absolutely. And second, don't get too caught up in chasing that big jackpot.
Right.
Remember, there are prizes for kicking 7 winners, 6 winners.
It's not all or nothing.
Exactly. You can still have a good night even if you don't hit all 8.
Right, that's a good point.
And that kind of leads to my third point, those strategies we talked about.
Oh, right, the bankers and the streaks.
Find those horses you feel really good about.
Right.
Build your bets around them.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to, spread your bets a bit.
In those races where you're not so sure,
Exactly.
cover a few extra horses.
Right.
Increases your chances.
Yeah, so it's all about finding that balance.
Risk versus reward.
All right. Any other words of wisdom for our listeners?
Just have fun.
Yeah.
Harness racing is a great sport, and
Yeah.
the V86 just makes it even more exciting.
Right.
So relax, enjoy the races.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe you'll win some money.
I love it. I love it.
It's been great diving deep into this with you.
Yeah, this has been fun.
Until next time, happy racing.
And to all our listeners, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
May your bets be bold, your insights sharp, and your wins plentiful.
Good luck, everyone.
See you next time.